were to just take this off and you had a 12K spring, it's gonna hurt. Clockwise is stiffer. All right, next up is our BC Racing coilovers. Yeehaw! So I got a set of BC Racing ZR coilovers. We're doing a quick spring swap on them. We're going to be doing 6Ks in the rear on this one. And same thing, gonna pull the front springs off, go some 12Ks in the front. We're gonna try that out for starters. And we'll probably have to spring up from there, especially if this is going to be a track ready car. But you know, for now it'll be good because I'm probably gonna street rip this thing around a little bit and I don't want it to be fully rock solid. It'll have a little bit of cushion for the street cruising right now, and then once we actually start stripping it down and getting it fully ready for the track, we'll be up in these spring rates. Not quite sure what yet. Have to see what the overall weight is. Do a little testing and go from there. All right, so now we're gonna whip these suckers in. So we got our right side. This guy mounted up in there. Get your back on my little tripod action. And swapping your springs is essentially that easy. Now one of the things you want to look out for though, see how we have these helper springs, right? If you're just gonna rip this top bolt off and this spring is compressed and there's no helper spring there, this could shoot off and really hurt you. So always make sure to check your spring compression first, which is why these came apart very nicely and easily. Even though we had some compression on the helper spring, it's a very soft spring, so just kind of let itself out. So if you were to just take this off and you had a 12K spring loaded up, it's gonna hurt. Or just put it that way. So these are all loaded up and ready to go now. I know when I was working on it, when the camera stopped, trying to get this bolt in, there's a little pivot on this bushing. So just like those control arms, I'm gonna put the shock on the bottom first actually, and then push it up onto the top. So let's see if we can't make that happen a little better this time. So now, one last thing to remember with these is that you have your rebound on the top side, and you have your compression, high speed and low speed, down here on the canister. And so it's kind of hard to see on this one, so I'll show you out here on the table. So we have the damper here, and clockwise is stiffer, counterclockwise is softer, right? And then down here on the compression, the same thing on the low speed, counterclockwise is softer, clockwise is harder. However, on the high speed, be sure to notice it's printed real big, because that's stiffer, high, is counterclockwise. And then clockwise is softer. Very important, or all your settings are gonna be messed up. So make sure you get that right, and get those things dialed in the way you like them. Next we'll be playing with ride height, and we can do some shock tuning on the street, but other than that, this baby's ready to hit the ground. All right, next up we got our front suspension, of course. So I'm going to see about knocking this out pretty quick. We obviously got a pretty good tutorial on the rear. The front is a little different. Big thing being the sway bar is actually the lower bolt. So you actually gotta knock it out and then move it out the way, undo these upper bolts, which are part of the strut tower bar. So this side you kind of got to do together. So I'm going to knock both sides out, lower that sway bar, swing it out of the way, suspension will droop down, take these brake lines off, take these ABS lines off. We'll just do that right now. That gets out the way, knock that brake line off, and then we'll just push the suspension down, swoop this whole thing out. So it'll should be pretty good, and we will get after it right now. Oh, come on! All right, we're back. That's what I was talking about. You see this whole thing is one piece. So that's our lower shock mount, as well as the sway bar link. So we got those out both sides. And now I'm gonna bring the car down so we can get the upper bolts. So underneath the strut tower brace are the 3 bolts. Really hard to get to them. It's been a minute since I've worked on one of these stock, and we actually don't run the strut tower bar on ours because we're not allowed to triangulate it to the factory firewall, even though it comes that way stock. Well, yeah, it looks like I'm actually able to get to all these. I thought it was more tied in. Haven't seen one in this form in a while. Okay, so those 2, and then this last one should be able to get with the gun, yep. So nice and quick. And grab the shock with the other hand. All right, okay, so you can see it's all loose, but it's gonna be in our best interest to take the other side out and let this thing really just drop out of its way. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, because the other side is out on the bottom. It's not connected on the lower perch. So we can remove this. It can be done. Now I remember about this as well. I thought I could get it around it, but just make your life easier. Undo these 3 12mm, and then this whole thing will just slide right out. So we're gonna do that real quick. So I'm gonna swoop this one in while we're here. So I'm gonna put the upper bolts back in, or nuts. Probably take my gloves off for this one so I don't drop another one. Didn't lose it. All right, so we got the upper one in. Let's go get this other side hanging and dropping. Down to the top. Woo. All right, gotta get one in there so that it doesn't fall out. That'll be a pain in the butt. Now all these holes are slotted for a reason. Make sure you get your lower shock bolt in first before you go and tighten all these up. You want that to be aligned first, and then you can bolt this down to the control arm, this bracket. Okay, little persuasion. There she goes. Okay. So, this on, I'm gonna throw the sway bar back on. I'll have to make a little bracket for holding these little caliper lines. Get something in there proper. Probably just get a little zip tie on this side for the ABS. That will be good. There. All right, so there we are. We got BC Racing ZR 3-way adjustable coilovers front and rear. Looking really good. And got our Part Shop Max arms on the back so we can get our proper camber and toe adjustment on there. The front, we will have to get a upper control arm in there to dial the camber in properly, but for now we'll sit on the ground and see how it looks. Now we just gotta pick out some wheels.
How cool is this? 50th anniversary Z One of the last traditional front engine, normally aspirated, rear wheel drive, short wheelbase, sports GT cars.